Hey everybody, what's up? This is Sir Kill here, back with another episode of Draft League Synergies. This time we're going to be going over Tapu Koko with my good friend Manaburn. Say hi.
Hello, guys.
Yeah, and yeah, I've got Manaburn here because he's exceptionally well versed with Tapu Koko. I've seen him use it in 2 leagues and he's used it phenomenally. So I really thought he would be the perfect guest for um, this video. Before we go into it, please make sure to check out Under the Radar as usual because the inspiration from this series did come from his Draft League Viabilities series that he has done. So I will link his videos in the description. And yeah, so this is going to be a Gen 8 take on Coco. A couple of things before we move forward. We're going to be assuming that it is a Natdex DLC draft, so cut moves are not allowed. So Tapu Koko will not have access to hidden powers, which we'll get into it later. But this is an extremely important consideration to make, especially when you are drafting Tapu Koko, and we'll assume that it is a points draft, so we're not limited to any Pokemon in any tier. I'll have my good friend Manaburn basically start us off at Tapu Koko.
All right. So, Tapu Koko is, we all know, it's one of the faster electric types, and it also boasts the fairy typing. The biggest strength of Tapu Koko is how it fits into a multitude of roles, while also hitting hard with its electric terrain boosted electric stab moves. It can pivot, it can wall break with like choice items, and it can also defog, stall break. It can do a lot basically. Is there anything I missed?
No, I think you gave a very good summary of what Tapu Koko has. So we'll go over the first one. I think that this base 130 speed is crucial. I mean, it's very difficult to find very fast Pokemon in draft, and a Pokemon that not only hits this like really high speed tier, but the fact that it can hit quite hard with electric surge boosted electric moves, right? So they give you a 30% power boost as opposed to 50% in Gen 7. So it's kind of weakened in that sense, but it still hits quite hard. It's, in my opinion, one of the best. Go on, sorry.
I just wanted to add that it also has the exceptional ability to gain momentum with not only the Volt Switch.
I was just gonna say that. I was about to say that, and yeah, it is. I think, in my opinion, it is one of the best offensive momentum gainers because it gets both these moves, and the fact that you can easily choose which one to run in a certain matchup really allows you to gain that momentum. Like, let's say if your opponent does not have good electric resist, you can just slap on like choice specs Volt Switch and just do loads of damage and at the same time provide yourself with momentum here. So yeah, one of the best offensive momentum gainers in my opinion. Its coverage in terms of offensive coverage isn't much, so like, but it has, I believe it has most of what it needs. So like, let's say bulky ground types really just like Grass Knot, it's gonna hit most of them pretty hard, so they are forced to, like something like a Swampert is gonna be forced to run a Window Berry to check Tapu Koko. It gets Brave Bird to check grass types that it doesn't like usually. It gets other niche coverage options, like it even gets Stored Power as an option this generation. So not many in terms of offensive moves, but they're more than enough for it to fulfill the needs that it wants. Another thing, I wish this thing got Moonblast and the special side. Dazzling Gleam is fine, but you really miss those 15 power points especially if they're coming off, base 95 special attack. And yeah, and just one final note is, I wish it got player off in close combat like it was assumed to be, because 115 base special base attack is just so good for Tapu Koko to be spamming physical fairy coverage really well, and close combat would have given it a lot of really solid wall breaking options. But it can easily go through, just go through without using those moves. So you mentioned a lot of utility options. Can you go through some of these utility options that it gets?
Oh yeah, so from it does get the defog for removing hazards. Also, it's funny that you mentioned to break down its checks. It does have the all the tapos. It shares the access to Nature's Madness to cut the health in half of your pesky Ferrothorns and Nidoqueens.
Yeah. That's a big one in my opinion.
Yeah. It can also screens with a taunt set.
Yeah, or double screens is one of my favorite sets to run. Yeah, very good lights, very good screen setter. It also gets taunt, as you said. A friend of mine in a league, so he expected a Porygon 2 to come to Waller's Koko. So he ran a Nature's Madness taunt U-turn Koko set, which completely shut down his opponent's Porygon 2. It wasn't able to recover, it could not pivot with teleport. So yeah, that utility is just super solid to have. It gets recovery and roost. I think only Bulu gets synthesis, but yeah, the roost is extremely good for Tapu Koko for longevity. It even gets iron defense if you want to go that route. If we're going to be discussing, we're going to be discussing some sets that can actually abuse that. And if you're feeling crazy, it even gets work up if you want to boost its physical attack, because it gets Calm Mind for special attacks, but doesn't get something like bulk up for physical. I wish this thing got bulk up, but work up is manageable in that regard.
Also,
yeah, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that the roost is actually, as you mentioned, it works very well with the typing of Tapu Koko, because you get to check a lot of pesky flying types, and your Torns and your also some of the fighting types, and Zapdos Galar, as well as fighting types.
Yeah, so I think I'm gonna be posting this after my game with ODF, but yeah, I'm gonna be bringing a very defensive Koko to check his Zapdos. I was running calcs. It's crazy. This thing, so I didn't put any defense, right? I didn't put bold or anything. I was able to run timid with very few speed EVs and just put the rest in defense, and it was taking 48% from Stomping Tantrum max. It's very stupid. This thing, the fact that it's able to check something as strong as a Zapdos Galar is just mind-boggling. But yeah, go on, sorry.
No, you hit the nail on the head there. I've seen it check Urshifu's too, that is not banded as well. It's surprisingly versatile with its with its stat distribution.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, again, I'm just gonna go over a few sets. Great double screen, so you can just run light screen, not light ball. I'm gonna say light clay plus dual screens plus roost plus U-turn. Just a if you have a very offensive team with other Pokemon, you can have Tapu Koko set up screens for your team, and you can have the other members of your team break through your opponent. I ran that in a week where my opponent had a lot of physical Pokemon, so I just had Tapu Koko be the screen setter and let the other part of my team break them down in that regard. I really love Choice Specs Tapu Koko. I think it's very fun it's a very fun set to use. Life Orb, 3 Roost, Calm Mind, Iron Defense sets. It can even run, I've seen this a weakness policy Calm Mind Store Power set be used to check a Nido basically. I thought and I've done it a few times as well to check Nidoking, Nidoqueen, because they usually run special coverage. So like, you can just have something else set of screens, Calm Mind, take their Earth Power or Sludge Wave, and then just one-shot them with stored power.
Does it actually survive a +1 or like a Sludge Wave with a +1 boost?
Oh yeah, very easily. You can make it survive it very. I've had it do that quite a few times, so it's very easy to do that. Because Tapu Koko is so fast, right? So you usually just don't put very few speed and just put it in Spadef and you just go from there. A mon that sets up screens also helps, but yeah, Tapu Koko does that so well. Another very cool set I think it does really nicely is like it's a very good like sub-toxic protect a sub-toxic protect mon, because it's so fast, and then you can just like, or sub-toxic roost, because you can just sub and then you can toxic something and then you can roost away, and it becomes very difficult to break sometimes. So yeah, that's a few of the sets really. So exceptionally great mon. It is one of the best Pokemon in my opinion in terms of being able to slap onto a team and build around with. So yeah, we're done with that. Anything else before we move on to what Tapu Koko does not provide for the team?
I think we touched on most of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's actually move over to what can Tapu Koko do?
Yeah. So I'll start off this one. In my opinion, I think sometimes that base 95 special attack is a little low, because if your opponent has a very strong ground type, its dazzling gleams or its grass knots may not hit as hard as you want without like a boosting item. This is very important because let's say if you want your Tapu Koko to be a pivot with like heavy duty boots and whatnot, its special attack is usually very lackluster in that sense, and that's where most of its good coverage comes from. Yeah, like I said earlier, not getting player up in close combat to abuse that 115 attack, I think in that regard does hurt Koko a bit in that sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
The dazzling gleams fall off pretty hard compared to the Thunderbolt comparatively.
Yeah, 100%. That's why I said, if this thing had Moonblast, for example, it would have been fine. Not as good as like Player of, but it would have still been, pretty decent as an option. Another big thing is that because of this special attack, mostly Tapu Koko needs some sort of setup to keep going. So you need like a Calm Mind, or you need like an Iron Defense. And sometimes its bulk, like 70, 85, 75 bulk, is kind of shaky for it to like, sustain itself, especially if your opponent has very strong physical wall breakers, physical ground types. So yeah, that is another huge one in my opinion. And yeah, and I think the final thing is that there's like, without access to hidden power, like Tapu Koko like really enjoys hidden power ice, especially in like a meta game where it is allowed, because that allows it to beat like a Landorus Tyrion or I wouldn't say a Gliscor, but like a Gligar or something. So it's definitely wanting for like hidden power in that regard. So normally mons that could beat it can be like a Gliscor or a Excadrill. I've used a split effect very easily, and that game Tapu was because just could not touch me. That's from my side.
No, I was mentioning that. What we'll list is basically Tapu Koko is a mon that really wants to work with its partners if you're wanting ground types to actually to team by its like an Urshifu or a Hoopa Unbound in that regard.
Yeah. So I think we've gone through most of what Tapu Koko gives and does not give. It's just I was picking quite hard for what Tapu Koko does not provide. The thing is, it's a very good Pokemon to draft as your first overall pick. So yeah, we're gonna go over what a type of a core, or like a 6-mon core that you can get with Tapu Koko. Usually Tapu Koko is going to be your first round pick because it's just an incredible Pokemon. So what do you think would be some of its best partners that you want to get with Tapu Koko?
Just looking at a ground type, the strongest ground type available, like your Landos and your Gliscor and your Garchomp, kind of.
Yeah. But any good ground type is a solid. Excadrill's fantastic because you're not facing Excadrill. Garchomp's great. Nido is also super. It's also bulky water type of the team. Seismitoad and Sword amazing because your bulky water does not care about opposing electrics that are wanting to abuse your electric surge. Gliscor also fits the same bill. So, I think any strong really help Tapu Koko go a long way. They also help with beating poison. Tapu Koko, you most of the time struggles to break like power, but beating them sometimes it can be kind of tricky. So so which ground type do you think we should go with?
I think Rospherian is kind of classic, and I think makes like a very solid Vault core. It just sets the basis for a strong offensive team.
Yeah, for sure. So it's it may be difficult to get both of these together, but it's gonna be kind of tricky. But I haven't seen Lando being drafted as much in round 1, so I can definitely see this core popping up together. But yeah, we'll assume. We'll assume that we get these two together. So yeah. Again, sorry.
No, I was just thinking out loud. What did you say?
No. I think we'll assume that we go two together. Because like any good ground type is very splashable with Koko, so like your Garchomps, your Mammals, and everything. I think Landorus Tyrion is a fantastic partner because both you get the ultra good momentum, you get rocks, you get another defogger, so like Koko doesn't have to shoulder the burden of defogging. Landorus Tyrion can be your defog. Another great setup sweeper in Lando, like double dance. The amount of seconds it can take on both the ground and the poison hits Koko hates. So I think these two are fantastic in my opinion. And there's random hidden power ices, like targeting your Landorus. So like let's say if you're the only thing I would be kind of scared of is like an opposing Raikou because they get scalded. But other than that, these were so solid. Anything else you want to add, Lando?
I want to add that it's a ground type. It's an early ground immunity as well. Because Tapu Koko is ground weak, and we're probably going to want to add like steel type later on, and really want to patch up any potential ground weaknesses as fast as possible.
Yeah, for sure.
That's like an easy trap to fall into, in my experience.
Oh yeah, you had Tapu Koko Mega Mall, alright. When both your fairies are weak to ground, it's not a good thing to have, basically. So
yeah,
I think you ended up like drafting like 4 Levitate mods to compensate. It was something like that. I remember when you used it.
Yeah.
So I love these two together. These two look super solid as a core. So yeah, we're starting with here. So let's say your opponent has a Zygarde, right? And Zygarde gets 1,000 arrows. Now there's only so much Landorus Tyrion can check a Zygarde. Like it gets Intimidate. But like a Coil Zygarde, may prove to be kind of tricky for this core to handle. So I think a really good grass type, like a very fat grass type, is insanely good with a core like this. Any grass types that come to mind, I think we can go like even high tier. We can go mid tier for our grass type right now.
As a grass type, so. The one thing about like Koko, we don't want Koko to defog. That's like a big priority here in our Koko featured team. So I was going to suggest maybe something like, can we get lucky? Maybe get a Celebi third pick.
Celebi is solid. It doesn't get defog though, but it's a good Pokemon. I really like Celebi. It again rocker. Yeah, go on.
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't.
Yeah, it's all. Oh yeah, it does not. I still think I like Celebi because like we have our bug resistances in both Koko and Torn.
And
yeah, and we also get our 100 base speed tier to accommodate with our Lando as well.
Yeah, it's a very nice like middle ground between Lando and Koko, and Celebi gets stealth rocks, so like Lando can bring like double dance sets. I think having 3 extremely customizable Pokemon together can make for some seriously difficult prep. Celebi gets recovery. It's another U-turner. It can run physical with Seed Bomb, Swords Dance. It can run Nasty Plot, Grass coverage. It gets Psychic coverage. It gets Aura Sphere. I think it gets Earth Power. It gets Earth Power, so it can beat the bulky steals that may wall it sometimes. It's a Healing Wish user, so let's say if you want to like bring like a Lando back to life, it's a great Leech Seed user. Another double screen setter. Trick, very good Scarf Pokemon. So yeah, I think these 3 are fantastic. Another very good bulky grass is Tangrowth, like a very high tier one, because at that point, when you have like a Lando and Tangrowth, I think your opponent's ground types just don't even want to bother coming against you. Tangrowth is solid. I've seen Koko Rillaboom be paired as well. Sometimes if both of them fall together, because you can reset terrain very easily with each other.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think Celebi is fantastic. I really am loving this 3 Pokemon core that we have going on together.
It's
okay.
Oh, sorry. So if we were to like draft Rillaboom, like that's where you probably try and consider like your unburden mons, like you get the Halucha maybe if you still have feeling frisky with the points. I think we are trying to avoid the Halucha this time because we think it's a little too easy, and there are more creative ways to build.
Yeah, it's a very good pairing. Don't get me wrong, but I think it's a lot more fun if we can go with other pairings, like my friend Manaburn said. So yeah, what megas do you think would go very good with this core? What sort of a mega?
So for a Megamon, so what I'm looking for right now is maybe like something that can go like in between the speed tiers, or something a little slower maybe. I do think it's time to grab our Mega here, if we get the option, because I assume a lot of them like are going to be gone. Maybe like, do you think we could afford like maybe a Gyarados?
Oh, interesting. Okay, I can see.
Or what were you thinking?
So
I guess Medicham?
Mega Medicham would be great. I don't think we can get it like third. Maybe we can get a third pick. Because I was thinking Mega Gallade would be very solid, but that would easily go round 1, early round 2. It's like if we didn't pick Lando, we could have picked Mega Gallade. Mega Medicham is an exceptional partner, but we've got Celebi, so we're gonna have like the same speed tier, and we want to mostly avoid that. Mega Gyarados looks solid. One of my friends had it with Koko, and it did a lot of work together. And I really like Mega Gyarados actually, so we'll go with that. Yeah, I think Mega Gyarados we can easily fit Mega Gyarados with this. An incredibly scary Dragon Dance Sweeper, very bulky, 109 defense, 130 SPDF. Like it's an incredibly bulky Pokemon. Mold Breaker, you can break through, like, let's say if your opponent has like an unaware Pokemon like a Quagsire. So Koko can beat it with Grass Knot, but you can set up with like a Dragon Dance sub Mega Gyarados, and your opponent is gonna have quite a bit of trouble breaking it. Pre-Mega, it gets Intimidate again, so you have that Intimidate core going with Landorus. You get Moxie, so I'm actually really liking all these together. Any other stuff you want to add about Mega Gyarados?
It gets us a dark type, which I think is something like every draft roster wants, if possible. They also tend to go early in many cases. we moving ahead, it would be nice if we could get like a fighting type to complement our nice little Celebi.
Yeah.
It can also help break down further steel types.
Yeah. Fighting type. So, do you think we have? I think we're feeling a bit physical in terms of wall breaking. So I think
it's time for a spawn.
Yeah, maybe a special mon, maybe a good fighting type. I was also thinking maybe we could get like Tapu Koko, Landorus, Keldeo instead of Mega Gyarados.
Oh yeah, that works. We can run.
Yeah, do you think we should go Mega Gyarados or Keldeo? I really like Keldeo though, not gonna lie.
I think Keldeo is really good if we can afford it at this stage, which we probably can.
Yeah, like if we don't go Mega Gyarados and if we go Keldeo, for example. Yeah. So do we want to continue with the Gyarados, or do we want to say like, you know, we got Keldeo instead of Gyarados and we can pick like another Mega later on?
Yeah, let's get Keldeo. And like for the record, if we were drafting this, I mean, I would probably hold off till either Gyarados or Keldeo got drafted and then just like pick the other one.
Yeah. Yeah.
But Keldeo is probably stronger with it can also flip turn, and like we have all seen the conventional like Landorus, Koko, Keldeo, bulky offense core.
It's so disgusting. It's so disgusting. Because like Keldeo gets flip turn, incredible Secret Sword, Hydro Pump, very good choice specs user. Like I think it's a fantastic wall breaker with this draft. With that 108 speed tier, so like now we're sorted. You know, we got like 91, 100, 108, 130, so we can completely forget about our fast spawns after this, and then we can, you know, start filling in the speed tiers at the bottom. Keldeo dislikes bulky grass types and bulky water types, and you know what do we have? We have like three mods that destroy those typings together. Keldeo's very good Calm Minesweeper, Toxic Mon. I really like. I think Keldeo looks fantastic, and it's very realistic to get Koko, Lando, Keldeo, like if you're like one of the earlier picks, for example. So yeah, anything else you want to go with Keldeo?
I do want to note that Keldeo is not the fattest water type, so that like moreover when we continue to draft like the final 2 months, and like if we were to like imagine like the final 5, either we would like another fatter water, or add like more mons that does not require much like switching into fire types basically. Let's not get stranded.
Yeah, so like you can get like a Vaporeon later on, for example. You can get Vaporeon, very good low tier water, like, you know, bulky waters are available. So yeah, I think Koko, Lando, Celebi, Keldeo looks fantastic. So yeah, now we can start looking at maybe like a more mid-tier Mega. Yeah, so where do you think we should go in that regard?
So right now I'm looking at like your conventional Fairy Steel. I mean, everyone's happy with a solid Fairy Steel Dragon core, and I think we should like get maybe 2 halves at least in these first 6 picks, maybe.
Okay.
So if there is any, so we're looking at like Dragon, maybe like Mega Aggron, or like, if you like that, we can get the Latis are probably gone.
Larios is banned, usually banned. Larios is gone, so yeah, for sure.
Maybe wait, you could like push it even more and grab Mega Steelix. Maybe.
I like that. Do Steelix and Lando share weaknesses? No, right? Water, I think.
They share the water weakness.
Yeah. So there's that.
Maybe Aggron?
I like Mega Aggron a lot with this draft. Yeah, I really like it because you get another Stealth Rocker for this team. So like you're set for hazards. You do not care. You are able to easily run hazards or any of the 3, and they will set them up perfectly. Mega Aggron, solid, like insane physical bulk. Filter is absolutely broken on this mon. I've used it. I love this Pokemon so much when I drafted it. 140 attack is nothing to laugh at. I broke down an entire defensive wall core with Mega Aggron alone, so I think I'm really liking this. And again, we have the ground weakness covered pretty nicely because Lando is immunity, Celebi resists, Keldeo destroys those grounds. So yeah, I think Mega Aggron is a very good mid-tier, I would say, steel type that we can get along with this core. And yeah, just insanely great coverage options. Heavy Slam, Ice the punches, a very good Iron Defense body press user, like insanely good Iron Defense body press user. Taunt, Toxic, it can be built very easily, customized to a matchup. So yeah, I think this is very good in my opinion. Any final, and what do you think should be our final piece to this team?
So the final piece would probably be something to slot in. Like, I'm really thinking, because this team has an offensive nature to it. I think we do want to like allow our speed tiers to be pretty well covered. And so we have a lot. We cap very high, which I really like. We do have a bit of a hole between Lando and Aggron.
Yeah,
right now.
a pretty big speed tier gap, so yeah.
So maybe something like in the 70 to 80 speed tier.
Okay.
And something, maybe like a dragon type. You mentioned that we were weak to like a Raikou right now.
Yeah.
So maybe like a fat dragon.
Okay.
So we are looking at maybe like, I don't like Goodra, it's also kind of slow, but like...
Yeah. It can work.
I mean,
yeah.
What do you think about Regidrago? Do you like the Mon?
I just personally dislike it because it just vaults so easily. It's very easy to vault, basically. I just don't think Regidrago would be that good. I think Druddigon could be a very solid low tier dragon, right?
I think I was looking at Druddigon too, yeah.
Yeah, like a very good low tier dragon. If we want to go, like for example, let's say you drafted Hydreigon earlier, that could have been a very solid partner. Kyurem is a great partner, but we're already looking too top heavy, so I think we should, stick to more low tier dragons. I think Druddigon looks very nice with this draft. Drampas looks great too, as a very low tier special wall breaker dragon. It's very cheap as well. It's like usually 6 points. So yeah, you can also go Aromatisse as your fairy, like another secondary fairy, because Tapu Koko is like not a fairy in the defensive
it's
sense.
An honorary fairy.
Yeah, it's a good offensive fairy, but like if you can pair this Mega Aggron with like an Aromatisse, like Mega Aggron loves Wish Pass. So if you can pair this with Wish Pass, I think this can be incredibly destructive. And like we were saying, I think that we want a secondary water type, right? Another bulky water. So let's say you put Vaporeon with this core. What do you reckon for the Wish Pass?
Yeah, Aromatisse would be a very solid fit, given how like steel types in general are not in for a good time. So like if we can squeeze in a solid mon that can like exploit those circumstances, it would give us a lot of mileage.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm leaning a bit more towards like Druddigon, just because it's just another stealth rocker. But it depends. Do you think Drampa would still be available at this stage?
I don't see it drafted as much. So Drampa can be very nice actually, now that I'm thinking about it, as a low-tier Pokemon. So yeah, I think Drampa looks great in my opinion, because then you can get like an Aromatisse to Wish Pass to the Aggron, so you can like easily start covering your that small like a fighting weakness going on with Aggron and Drampa. Drampa is also quite bulky actually, like 78, 85, 91, so it can take on like a Raikou, though it has to be careful of like Aura Sphere Raikou for this team. But I think a Celebi can easily 1v1 a Raikou,
Oh yeah, we have a Celebi.
Yeah, so I think I just noticed basically Selby can 1v1 the Raikou very easily. But I think Drampa is good because like it gets roost. I think it's another defogger. It's another defogger. So we've got 3 good defogs. We got 3 good rock setters. We got recovery. This thing also gets roost. I don't know if I mentioned that. It's got great coverage. It gets Draco. It gets what else does it get? It gets hyper voice. Gets
You can also Dragon Tail.
Dragon Tail.
If you. Oh, it glares. It glares.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we were thinking of glare users. So great. I think like if you look at its coverage, it has some insanely good special coverage, and then great abilities as well. Berserk, Sapsipper, Cloud9, all are very solid. Like let's say if you're going up against a Sun Draft, you can just bring in Drampa and like wall the opponent's Venusaurs and their fire types, for example. So, and yeah, Sapsipper is great for like taking on grass types. So I think these 6 look fantastic together. Yeah, any other final thoughts that maybe we can go with this?
My final thoughts are probably that like these last 3 months and like the following, I mean, it will all depend on what's available and what's not. Because like this Drampa might as well be a Druddigon and it can be an Aromatisse.
Yeah.
So that for the audience, that I think that a very important part is like being able to stay flexible.
Yeah.
But I like what we got so far, most definitely. We may get like kinda bullied by some select few fighting types that can attack both Drampa and Aggron.
Yeah.
Kinda hard.
Yeah. Fighting types do look like a problem, but again, if you can get like an Aromatisse, for example, that we get like 4 fighting resistances in that regard. And yeah, basically the last like 4 or 5 months can very easily patch up the holes that this Desert Drought may provide. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it from my end. Any other remarks before we like close it off?
I really like that. I really like the Mega Aggron just because like it's one of few like mid-tier megas that you actually like feel like excited to draft around.
Oh, it's so fun to use. It's very fun to use.
But as a final note, I'm just very thankful for being featured.
Oh no, I'm very happy. I'm super stoked that you said yes to that because I knew like making a video with you would be really fun, and I had a lot of fun in this video. So yeah, so there's that. I think we're solid here. So yeah, that's it from us really. How would you build around Tapu Koko?